Jason Lutz here for Tools of the Week. My tool of the week this week is part 3 in my sales health series. Part 1, 2 weeks ago, was your physical health. Last week, your mental health. And this week, your financial health. Taking care of yourself long-term fiscally will set you up to retire or to have whatever toys and whatever things that inspire you and drive you in the future. Sales is the greatest job in the world, in that you have the ability to go out and make untapped, unlimited amounts of money. Everybody I know, well, not everybody, 9.5 out of 10 people that I know that have over $1 million in the bank are in sales. There is no limit on how much you can make. Now, sales pros, unfortunately, it is a cycle. It is a roller coaster, and we have to ride the roller coaster. How you ride the roller coaster and how you manage the roller coaster dictates how you're successful in that coinage. Way too many salespeople come into sales and they spike the number up really high in their first couple commission checks. And they do it really traditionally one of two ways. They're in a job where they're selling something, and it's friends and family. They've sold all their friends and family, they spike the number up, and then all of a sudden they got to go out and sell something, they don't know how to do it. Other side is, and I hire a lot of them, great salespeople who come in, but they walk into a territory that has been underserviced or underserved for a while, and just by darkening the door and showing up, man, they hit great. They have a good year, and they spike those commission numbers, and that's great. The challenge is, when you do that, you need to save some of that money, because as you go up the roller coaster, you're making tons of money. At the top, you're making great money, but at some point, you got to go down the roller coaster. It is hard to duplicate overachieving 2 years in a row. Extremely difficult 3 years in a row. Almost impossible 4 years in a row. You know, traditionally in most sales or most corporate sales in the world that I play in, you're measured on what you did last year plus a growth percentage. So when you hit the top of that roller coaster, you now have a growth percentage on top of that you got to hit. So now that's your new baseline, is the top of that roller coaster. Makes it technically harder every year to duplicate it. Now again, I've seen people do it, I've done it, but it's very difficult. On those years when you're spiked up, man, you got to take some of that money and set it aside. Put it in a separate bank account for my emergency when I have a bad year account. You know, don't put it in huge investments where you can't get to it, but put it in just an emergency fund. But at the same time, do take some of that money and put it away in long-term, smart financial securities, 401k, employee stock purchase programs, Roth IRAs. I hire a lot of younger salespeople. I tell them when they get that first check, that first commission check, and I tell them when they're logging in, they're setting up all their stuff on onboarding, max out your 401k. If you're just maxing out the 8% or whatever your company matches, when you're in your early 20s, you will be a millionaire when you retire by accident. Not counting everything that you've added to it, not counting, what you've sold over the years, but just the compound interest of money you've invested in your 20s will get you there in the future. So take some of that money and set it aside. My employer offers an employee stock purchase program where we have the ability to buy stock at a small discount. I leverage that to the max. I want my employees to leverage that to the max. 2 reasons. 1, fiscally smart and responsible. Hey, if you get a discount on something, you should buy it. And 2, if they have skin in the game, if they are owners in that company, man, they want to go out and work harder. We just finished up the quarter. Employees who have ownership in the company want the company to hit every quarter. Employees who don't have ownership in the company, it's just a job. So tool of the week this week, your financial health. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you where to go put your money at. You need to work with a smart financial person. But what I can tell you is just be smart with it. What I can tell you is Don't go out and spend any money. You should make no major financial purchases in the first 6 months of any sales job. Don't move. Don't buy a new car. Don't buy a new toy. Because you don't know how that roller coaster is going to go. I've seen way too many salespeople who get their first commission check, and the first thing they do is want to move into a fancier apartment or go out and buy a house. Now, generally, you can't buy a house in sales until you've been in sales for a couple of years, because you need a couple of years of history on your taxes of those commissions. And the IRS and the mortgage companies do that, so they know you've worked out the peaks and valleys. You understand what you really make. You know, going out and moving because you just got a big check is a bad thing to do, I promise you. Don't spend any money in the first 6 months. In the second 6 months, I want you to spend money. I want you to go out and say, you know what? I've always wanted that new toy. For me, like I have this DJI Osmo camera. I love it. But I want you to go out and buy something like that. Go out and buy those new golf clubs you've been wanting. If you spend some money, it also drives you mentally to go out and replace it. To go out and sell more to replace the money you just spent. And that's good. But no major purchases in the first 6 months. Everybody, tool of the week this week, be smart with your fiscal health. Work with a financial person. I have a couple of them that are great that I use. And I promise you, long term, you won't regret it. Everybody have a great week. Everybody have a great weekend. Monday, go out and sell something. Sell a whole bunch of it. And then put that coin in your pocket. And put a little bit of savings for an emergency.